what is the likelihood of you seeing patients that are pretty much compliant and want to do this without the quick fix or the quick turnaround?
After GLP-1s spiked, it's been, I would say, less than 5%. Unfortunately, of course.
Yeah.
The other 95%, it's like, I just want a quick fix. Those quick fixes also have two types. There's that I want to do it because I know weight is affecting my health, blood sugar is affecting my health. And then there's the other part who's like, yeah, I just want to lose the weight. I have a wedding in a couple of months, you know? And that's the worst kind.
Welcome back to Connect for Health. It is lovely to be back in the studio. Of course, Connect for Health is the live webinar and podcast brought to you by Cigna Healthcare, Middle East and Africa, with a little bit of help from mentl. I'm Scott Armstrong. I'm the founder of mentl, a platform which aims to tackle the stigma of mental health. And of course, I'm joined as always, and great to be back in person, by my fabulous co-host, Maissa Khafajy, the head of Government Affairs and Strategic Communications at Cigna Healthcare Middle East. I've missed you.
I know, I've missed you too.
Today's topic is one that's quite literally close to my heart. My little girl, 10 years old, is outside doing online learning, and I've promised her I'm going to live to 150. So I'm going to need some advice. And today's topic is called Diabetes, Heart Health, and Your Health Check Roadmap. And I am delighted today to be joined by an expert guest, Dr. Mahmoud Maissa, who is the Clinical Quality and Development Manager at Valeo Health. Dr. Mahmoud, welcome to Connect for Health.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to be here. Now, there are a few topics that are more important than our ongoing health, particularly as we get on in life. If you had a moment just to give us a sort of a basic health check roadmap, where do you think we are right now in the UAE? You know, people dialing in. Are we in good shape?
To some extent. I would say people are becoming more aware of health in general. I hope I like how people are approaching us recently for these kinds of issue, looking at, you know, how can I improve my health? Not just, you know, we have a huge family history of diabetes and I want to make sure I don't get it. The preventative part is becoming a bit more on the side, and now people are looking into improving optimization, which is a nice thing, to be honest.
Great. And also, just to remind you, out there in digital land, of course, as always, you'll be able to ask your questions. So if you've got questions, please post them into the box, and we will we'll put them to Dr. Mahmoud. And also, we will have polls later on in the broadcast, so we want you to get involved. Now, if you are watching on YouTube or catching up on the podcast channel, you won't be able to take part in the live interaction. Of course, if you want to be with us live next time, get in touch with Cigna Healthcare Middle East and Africa to inquire about membership, and you can be with us in the room next time. I have decided that I want a health roadmap. I want to figure out what I'm going to be doing for the next 12 months. What should I be looking at?
First of all, we start with like a full medical health history, right? This is the basic information, and it does have, of course, the family history, whatever has been happening in your life. And one of the most important things is, of course, your lifestyle. Lifestyle is not just about lifestyle, and sleep plays a huge role, of course. Exercise, stress management, how's stress in your life? These things also matter. Now, going to the basics, of course, is the biomarkers, let's say, the blood tests. For me, for someone, for example, like yourself, who is following a type of healthy lifestyle, with stress, of course, on the side.
Let's go with that.
I was going to say define, kind of.
Okay, right,
I would look into, first of all, the metabolic foundation is everything. Like, for example, blood sugar profile, which has HbA1c, insulin fasting. These are the basics, right?
See, Maissa sounds like she knows what you're talking about. Whereas if there's anyone out there that's like on my level, just break that down
with
a
the
little
markers.
bit more.
What do they represent?
Biomarkers, which are, you know, the blood tests, the blood panel, which we usually go to the doctor and they ask for them and they look at your tests and then, everything's fine.
Yeah.
But you have no idea what's there.
And then he said you were PDF and I now start putting it to ChatGPT.
Exactly.
They're like, what is this?
Exactly. But the metabolic panel usually is the blood sugar levels, cholesterol levels, and of course, kidney functions, liver functions. Those are the basics, right? So those would give us an idea on how your body is actually functioning on a metabolic, which is the main thing in your body, right? So blood sugar panel. HbA1c, that's the average blood glucose for the past 3 months. Right? It's a very good indicator for someone who has prediabetes or someone who is at risk of prediabetes or diabetes, right? The other part is insulin fasting. Insulin fasting is, how insulin spikes are happening in your body. This will be a very good indicator, first of all, of cardiovascular risk, and of course for diabetes management or blood sugar control. So a lot of people, we have seen a lot of diabetics, right? We have diabetics in our families. But the thing is, it's different one person to the other. For me, for example, my blood sugar spikes happen when I'm fasting. Most people, they happen after a meal. So the response of insulin goes with that. And that also affects how your metabolism works. If you have very high, very low insulin levels, that means you have very high blood sugar levels, which means that you are at risk of diabetes, which leads to a lot of visceral fat, insulin sensitive resistance, and visceral fat, for example. It's a very important marker. Then you go to cholesterol profile. Cholesterol profile, we have all seen cholesterol, and we have seen a lot of people, freaking out. Oh, my cholesterol is very high. I need to take statins for life now. No. Cholesterol has a lot of markers in it, and each has their own interpretation. But you have to also always look at the whole picture, including your lifestyle. Right? We have seen people who do CrossFit, but with extremely high levels of cholesterol. So does that mean that they need to start medication? Not always. Total cholesterol is a number, right, on the cholesterol profile. But it doesn't matter as much as the ratios, for example, like triglyceride to HDL ratio. Triglycerides is the visceral fat. That's like the dangerous fat. And then there's LDL, which is 6-7 types of LDL. Some of them are fine, some of them are not fine. But there's a huge, discrepancies between these markers, and you have to have a better look to understand how your lifestyle needs to go with that.
So you mean like looking at the overall picture, because you can't look at one specific marker and that isn't determining. You've seen your PDF results, right? And you would look, for example, at your CBC, the complete blood count, which shows the red blood cells, white blood cells. And you would see, if, for example, MCV levels are a bit high. You ask Google, what does that mean? Google will tell you leukemia, for example. God forbid, of course. But the thing is, you have to always look at the whole picture. And even if you have I have a bit of a high blood sugar levels, fine. Look at the other stuff. What is causing this increase? Is it the lifestyle? Is it the diet? Is it there's something that is causing that spike? Stress, for example. Is your cortisol levels a bit high? That can cause insulin sensitivity, which insulin resistance, which leads to a spike of blood sugar. So it's all connected. You have to look at the whole picture. Other markers other than cholesterol and blood sugar, I would always recommend the body composition. There's BMI, body mass index, right? Which is the weight to height. And then there's the body composition. You would think, okay, I'm slim. My BMI is within normal, 23, but your fat mass is much higher than your muscle mass, which would definitely affect your metabolism, which will lead to other issues. One of the main things that we notice in slim people is fatty liver disease, which is weird, but that's their body doesn't understand how to use fat, so it just deposits it anywhere that it can. Body composition is really important.
That's an interesting one, because I've just been back to the UK on a trip, and I wouldn't say it was the healthiest of trips, but I had to go and get one of those, body composition things done. I was really, really kind of like, oh my God, because the BMI was around 29. I was like, oh yeah, and he immediately tell you, oh, you're nearly obese, but the body fat or whatever it was like down at 20% or 18% or something like that. So like on one measure, I'm nearly obese, and on the other measure, you look at it, it's
Yeah.
like,
Very
actually,
healthy,
that's
yeah.
not bad.
Exactly.
So it can be confusing for people, can't it?
It can, and I also wanted to bring in that discussion of gender because I know that there is always, especially the older you get, if you are within perimenopause and menopausal age for women, especially when we're looking at like visceral fats, what would you like? How would you? I think for women especially, they do not necessarily the bare minimum, but they do what is required of them when it comes to, certain tests, whether it's mammograms, whether it's,
The screenings.
screenings. Yeah. How often would you suggest that something like an overall health function, like overall kind of like health checkup for women specifically within a certain age category? Is it still every 12 months? Is it 6 months? Is it...
I usually recommend...
Does it change?
It's always, for me, it's always every 6 months.
Every 6 months.
Because any kind of lifestyle change you would do, it would take at least 3 months to reflect on your blood tests, right? On blood results.
Yeah.
So, give it at least 6 months, especially if you are leading a healthy lifestyle. You know that at least 70% of what you're doing is good and it's sustainable. It's something that you can maintain and you're consistent with it, then definitely. If someone has like a family history or a personal history of chronic disease, definitely that would change, right?
I have another question, and this is coming from a personal experience. So in my family, to look at, we appear, like you said, relatively healthy, slim. However, it is hereditary that we have high cholesterol. And also, my mother has lifestyle borderline diabetes, or has always been advised. I mean, she's never been quite at that point where she is on medication. She's been asked to scale back. And I think with her, it's the fact that she loves eating fruits and she's not as active as she should be, especially with her age. But for me, I'm thinking, at what point would you advise someone who doesn't necessarily present with symptoms, but does have something like that in the way of, medical history, it is within the family, it's hereditary. How often would you advise somebody? Is it still 6 months?
It would be still 6 months. But the thing is, we also have to look at the symptoms, right?
Okay.
Or the signs that your body is giving you. For example, one of the main things that we hear people complain about is my energy levels are down.
Yes.
I'm so tired. Brain fog is always there. And we
Yes.
tend to overlook it because, busy schedule, kids, schools, the stress that's going on, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, these are signals your body's sending you. Definitely there's something not right with let's say the lifestyle itself.
Yeah.
But with something is happening in the inside that's pushing it. Lack of energy. So there's an issue with metabolism. So it can be your blood sugar levels are spiking. Your body's not using sugar properly, which leads to this kind of drops of energy. So that would be a sign, right? So whenever someone would have or suspect symptoms, it's not being paranoid, right? It's just normalizing whatever's happening with you because of what is ever happening in your environment. And it's going to cause some kind of damage, right? Your body is always giving you signs. Listen to your body.
It's interesting. It reminds me, remember we had that great conversation with Dr. Johannes about health literacy?
Yes.
And how in this modern busy age, particularly as, a lot of expats also don't have access to their kind of grandfather and grandmother's wisdom back in the day.
Yeah.
We've kind of almost lost that ability to listen to our bodies and listen to what it's telling us. We just think everything's going to be all right and maybe we can take a pill and it'll be fine. So that seems to me, that's like, how important is it for that 6 monthly check or even that annual check? Like if someone's not been and done this for a couple of years, I mean, and also does this get more important the older one gets?
Yes, definitely. The older we get, it's definitely more important because with age comes hormonal imbalances, both in males and females, right? And the thing that manages your function, the whole functionality of your body are hormones, right? So again, for example, testosterone in males.
Yeah.
Every year it drops.
Yeah.
Every year we
I'm
age,
very
it
aware.
drops. So testosterone for us, it has a huge protective function on the cardiovascular system, right? It affects your blood vessels. Same goes for estrogen for females.
Yes, yeah.
And the thing is, once it drops, your body will take whatever is there and uses it for the main priority or function, right? So it's not going to prioritize other stuff. Like, it's not that important. With that comes the metabolic dysfunction, which leads to higher blood sugar levels, higher cholesterol levels, fatty liver disease, and of course the atherosclerosis, which is stiffness of the blood vessels.
I mean,
so
that's a whole new podcast, that as well. I mean, and I know many women will be rolling their eyes if I mention the andropause, that the male menopause. But that, and that's when men start, the energy goes.
Exactly.
And that starts impacting their physical look, their self-respect, their opinion about themselves, how they're eating, how they're exercising, and then how they're feeling about their mental health. I'm going to, because we've already got people asking questions, so I'm going to ask an audience question, and then we'll go perhaps to our first poll. Anuj, thank you. You're always very, very engaged. Is it more effective to focus on reducing stress itself? And this is a very relevant question right now. Or are there specific lifestyle interventions like sleep, diet, exercise that will directly help regulate cortisol levels? And before you answer that, Maissa, you can help regulate my cortisol levels by just pushing your microphone cover up.
Oh my, I did not see that coming. Yes, is that better?
So I'll put it on the corner of my eye and it was beginning to spike. So to that, is it just, as Anuj is asking, focus on reducing stress? Is that a good place to start? Or, how can we do these specific lifestyles? What's the advice to the people that come in to your clinic?
Usually what I recommend, what I suggest is, first of all, it's not one thing, one aspect to focus on, right? It's a whole system. So stress, sleep, exercise, movement, food, this is a whole system. Always start slow, always start bit by bit, because we're humans at the end of the day. We don't like extreme change. Adrenaline is something different. When it comes to lifestyle changes, and when I go from one side to the extreme side, your body doesn't like it. You don't like it. And we don't like to change that routine. So look for sustainable lifestyle, something that makes sense to you.
Okay.
That's my first and always recommendation. When it comes to stress is always going to be there. But the issue is how can you manage how stress is affecting your body, right? My suggestion to almost everyone, I've tried breathing exercises, I've tried meditation, they work fine, of course. They are proven to work. But what I always suggest, think of the man cave theory, right? So in those times, the stressor was a predator, right? How would you react? Your body will trigger the fight or flight. So when does that go down? When does stress go down? After you handle that, you fight or flight. So combat training, that's one thing that releases a lot of stress. Why do you have those break the stuff shops?
The smash rooms.
Anger rooms, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it releases that kind of fight effect. Flight, running, swimming, climbing. These kinds of things also trigger the flight effect. So you're tricking your body that, I'm doing that. I'm responding to that stressor, whatever it is. Your body starts to normalize again. And there are some researches and studies on that can support this. Changing a bit of whatever you do when it comes to stress management, it really helps. Because, again, our bodies don't like change. Right? And they adapt too quickly for change. Same goes for weight loss, for example, which is a huge effect of stress, right? So our bodies hate weight loss because it's against the survival instinct, right? Whatever you do, I lost 56 kgs 12 years ago. I tried doing that again, not losing 56 kgs, but at least losing weight. But it's not happening because my body built a resistance to whatever I was doing 12 years ago. But I had to change.
Yeah.
It's the same thing for everything, you know. Always change the routine, trick your body, keep your body on its toes when it comes to metabolism, when it comes to stress management. Sleep is one of the most affected things by stress. And one of the most common things we hear is, hey, you have to sleep better to relieve that stress. Yeah, but I can't sleep because of the stress.
It's like a vicious cycle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So stress management is a huge factor, definitely. But there's a lot of other things that is complete the cycle to help you improve.
I want to ask one question, which just completely occurred to me before we sort of bring the first poll in. But even when you were talking about, you know, the markers, and you were talking about cholesterol and the fact there's so much different. I mean, we see so much content out there from pseudo experts on podcasts telling you that cholesterol is bad, cholesterol is good. This is you know, all these different types of things. If we go back to what Dr. Johannes was also talking about that health literacy, what do people need to understand? Because there's a lot of stuff out there that is, you know, a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, had a really bad heart attack, and his first one was, it's cholesterol related, but actually it was cholesterol related, but his mother, like your mother, had very, very high genetic cholesterol level, and he wasn't aware of that. But there's just so many, like, say, pseudo expert and pseudo advice out there. What's your advice to people that when they're approaching this path, you know, how do they go into it with their eyes open and ask the right questions when they perhaps even sit down with you, rather than relying on this or that on the internet? Of course, you always get great advice on Connect4Health. Remember that. That's why we handpick our experts for you.
The thing is, of course, again, lifestyle matters, health history matters. Then we go to the family history. So there are, when it comes to cardiovascular disease or chronic disease, there are modifiable factors and non-modifiable factors. So the non-modifiable factors would be the genetic risk factors that are there. But if I have a genetic predisposability, does it mean that I will have high cholesterol? No, managing with lifestyle, managing the modifiable factors, this is something you can do. So you have to, you know, when I talk to my patients or our patients, you know, we have to look at the way of the way they think. Right? We don't like change. We don't like drastic change. And if we think of it, okay, I'm going to start next Saturday. Why is next Saturday never coming? Because we're thinking of the drastic change. So it's always looking at the biomarker, not the normal ranges, your normal ranges, your ranges. What fits you as a male, as a 50-year-old male who has
Thank you for that.
low body fat, higher muscle mass. So these are things that for you.
That's very complimentary, actually.
I'm taking it. I'm glad this is being recorded. And you all heard that. Maissa, you're kind of highly educated around this. But what's your personal experience? I think you are. Because every time we talk, you always bringing in. You've seen, you've read this.
I had a few questions actually. So while you were talking and you were saying the modifiable things that you can control, it took me back to two things that I wanted to ask. First was a friend of mine whose husband had recently had a mild cardiac episode. He is in his late 50s, extremely healthy, his BMI, his lifestyle, his habits. But it was an interesting pointer because he was advised to be placed on berberine as a supplement. And for some reason that I'm trying to bring, I can't remember or recollect why, I am very much an advocate of supplements because of my pharmacy background. And I started taking NAD plus resveratrol, and I've also started taking berberine. The last time I had my cholesterol count checked, and I do have both high HDL and LDL, but I was told it wasn't something to be concerned about, that actually dropped. So I was wondering, I wanted to really ask about the use and the efficacy of supplements such as, there are so many out there, but I know berberine has been quite high recently as to help with...
berberine, You know metformin,
Yes,
Khafajy.
yes,
So
yeah.
berberine is the equivalent, there's the supplement, natural equivalent of metformin without the side effects.
Right,
It's one of my
okay.
favorite supplements.
Okay.
It improves insulin sensitivity, so it significantly reduces insulin resistance, and it works on specifically triglycerides.
Yes.
It significantly reduces triglycerides, but it can give a huge push for HDL levels,
Okay.
good fat.
Yes.
So this is why I said the ratios matter.
Yeah.
So LDL to HDL ratio, triglycerides to HDL ratio. The more the good fat you have, the better the ratio, the less your body will store the bad fats. That's to simplify it, of course.
Right.
The thing is, our body uses fat, right? Doesn't like to store it much, but if there's another source of energy that we can use, then fine, we'll store fat for later.
Right.
Like sugar, the carbs are the fast burning fuel. Fats are the diesel, the slow burning fuel. So
That's a very good analogy.
I want to ask a kind of follow-on question just to that, which again is connected to, I remember you saying this when we were talking to Dr. Johannes as well around health literacy, where, you know, that desire for the quick fix.
Yeah.
And even with supplements, whether we're struggling with sleep or we've got, you know, diet issues or all that sort of thing, we have this tendency to go online, maybe go on ChatGPT, research a supplement or a treatment, and then go and order that off Amazon, and then start taking it without having actually never done the biomarkers or actually figuring out and going and sitting down with a GP or a clinician to go, well, actually, that's not going to do any good because of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So again, I guess the answer to my question is yes, but how important is it that people, before they kind of go down these rabbit holes and test and try, which is completely understandable in human nature, to actually go, well, actually find out what your kind of baseline markers are, and then you can figure out, yeah, that's going to do you some good. That's not going to do you some good. Don't waste money on that. That might have a, you know, a random side effect.
How would you know that it had a good effect? You did the test before and after, so you knew that it had something. Must have had a good effect.
There was a marked difference.
Same for everything else. And the thing is, with the supplement that are coming out since COVID, supplements have boomed crazy, right? People don't understand that there are supplements that work for you but don't work for me. Not just because like your body's different, your digestion is different. You're from a completely different area in the world than I am.
Yeah.
So your body definitely has like a huge ancestral tie to whatever grows in that. Lion's mane, for example.
Yes.
Lion's mane is something that everyone's taking now, right? Yeah. But it originated from England and northern Europe.
Yeah.
It's not in our countries, like it's not in the Middle East. But the way it affects you would be significantly different than how it affects me.
Fascinating.
It has no effect on me, by the way.
Exactly. This is what I hear from 90% of my female clients.
Yeah. No.
Right. I'm going to have to. Right. I'm going to bring in the first poll. And you've been very patient because I can see you're really engaged asking questions. So we'll do the first poll and then we'll cycle through some of the questions just to give our audience some answers. So first poll of the day, what describes where you are right now? Which I think this is the right time to ask this question. I want to prevent issues and stay on top of my health checks. I've been told I'm borderline, sugar, BP, cholesterol, and I want to act early. I'm managing diabetes, I'm managing heart or blood pressure issues, I'm managing both diabetes and heart risk. So please vote and let's see where you're at on that one. It is one of those interesting questions as well, while people are voting. You know, if someone is, or they think they're borderline, whether it be blood pressure, whether it be cholesterol, what should they do first after they get a kind of diagnosis? What's their...
pre-diabetes or borderline diabetes, blood pressure, to me it's always about diet. Improving your diet will significantly improve your readings. So for example, reducing carbs, and of course the bad carbs mainly, that would significantly reflect in your blood sugar levels within weeks. Right. Improving movement can significantly improve your blood pressure levels. It's simple things that you do every day consistently. This is what really have the effect. So diet, for example, again, going back to diet, for people who are pre-diabetic or people who come to me and, okay, my blood sugar is borderline high, what should I do? I stopped carbs. Fine. It's not stopping carbs.
Yeah.
It's choosing which carbs to do and being consistent with that. And instead of just stopping carbs, what are you adding instead that will help? So are you adding more proteins? Are you adding more fibers that help break down the fat, which help improve insulin sensitivity, which help improve blood sugar levels again?
Yeah.
It's the whole thing is connected. But the idea is what is sustainable and can be done consistently by you, right? So, we have a lot of family gatherings, for example, and you can't say no to someone feeding you, right? So you have to manage that day. Okay, so I know I have a huge dinner coming up, right? I would eat snacks throughout the day that would be high in fiber, very low in carbs, high in protein, so that when I reach that meal, I wouldn't eat much, but I would focus on better options instead.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, finding that balance that makes sense to you.
Finding that balance. Balance right now. Our audience, it's great. Nearly 50% of them are in this space right now where they want to listen to your wisdom and prevent issues and stay on top of health checks. That's really good because this conversation is just a chance to kind of check back in with yourselves. Quarter of the people have already been told about borderline sugar, BP, cholesterol. So I think what you've just said there, Dr. Maissa, is really, really pertinent about that, diet and movement. And then we've got 10% managing diabetes and 5% managing heart or blood pressure issues. I'm going to bring some of the questions in as well because they do connect. Margaret's asked, can diabetes be managed by lifestyle, diet, exercise only without medication?
Depends on the type of diabetes and
Yeah.
depends on the progression of it.
Okay.
Right? So mostly yes. I would say yes. I have seen people reverse diabetes with lifestyle changes. But of course, the first, let's say, couple of months, they were on the medication. Then you titrate down the medication because your body got reliant on the medication at a certain point.
I'm going to interject here and
go
I'm
on.
going to ask, when you say medication, are you referring to...
Whether it was Khafajy, whether it was insulin, whether it was...
Because we all know of the
GLP-1s.
GLP-1s. And I'm sure a lot of people are pretty tuned in to find out if there's anything that you could also mention about that.
Again, with even GLP-1s, right? Dependency or becoming, I'm used to using them, or I want to use it because I don't want to gain the weight back.
Because that goes back to what we were talking about, the health literacy about, I feel that right now, and it leads me on to another question I want to ask afterwards, it's about the fact that the way our behavior is, we want something that has a pretty quick onset. And when we're looking at things like you were describing, lifestyle changes of diet, these things take time. So what is the likelihood of you seeing patients that are pretty much compliant and want to do this without the quick fix or the quick turnaround to see those changes in their biomarkers or the
let's say in the
scale?
in the past couple of years after GLP-1s spiked, it's been, I would say, less than 5%. Unfortunately, of course.
Yeah.
And those 5%, it would be, I don't want to be like the others to give in to these medications. I want to do it on my own. So it's a challenge, kind of. But the other 95%, it's like, I just want a quick fix. The thing is, those quick fixes also have two types. There's the, I want to do it because I know weight is affecting my health, blood sugar is affecting my health. And then there's the other part who's like, I just want to lose the weight. I have a wedding in a couple of months, and that's the worst kind.
Of course,
I need to bring Richard's question in here right now because I think this is also, Richard, you're doing something that I think many, many people have done. He said, I used AI in regards to BMI and exercise and weight. My best friend, ChatGPT. Other search engines are available. It mentioned that weight circumference may be a better indicator. Is that more valid? I'm cognizant of the point raised about being slim and have high cholesterol. Are there more important attributes or markers that we can use? He says you have partly answered that before, but so around that BMI, because I mean BMI is for a long time it was like and my BMI is terrible. Look at the body composition.
Yes.
Which is the waist circumference, hip to waist ratio. These things are really good markers on how your body is handling. Again, visceral fat is one of the most important risk factors.
And just tell us what visceral fat is.
Visceral fat, it's the fat that is, it's the belly fat. Okay, right? It's the fat that is in between your organs, that deposits in between the organs.
That coats your organs. That insulates them.
Exactly. And this is the hardest fat to get rid of.
Right.
And this
Stubborn
imposes
fat,
a huge risk on your body because again, it's suffocating your organs to some extent, right? So that's why the waist circumference is important. It's the fat composition.
Okay.
BMI, I wouldn't see it as an indicator. It can be a start.
Yeah.
But then you have to see the rest. What does that mean?
There's a lot of discussion about how it is, as exactly as you said, it is not, a reliable indicator. And I think a lot of the times now when you go for just a quick kind of consultation, I'm not saying it's completely disregarded, but it's not given that weight as much anymore.
Yeah, because you see the difference.
Yes,
I mean, your BMI is 29.
Yeah.
And he's not obese, right? And his fat mass is 20%.
Yeah.
Muscle mass definitely more than 45.
Thanks, I'll take that.
But that's a huge difference. I have a lot of clients who come to me, okay, your BMI is 21. But literally, muscle, especially females, muscle mass would be low, not borderline low, low.
Yes.
Fat mass would be above 27, 28, 32 in one occasion, which this imposes a lot of issues.
Yeah.
So that's why, body composition.
Is that one of the, I mean, it just occurs to me, is that one of the risks as well about this kind of quick fix, turning to the GLPs? Because that, and I've read, that you lose muscle mass as well as fat mass.
Yes.
So if you're not exercising, you've already got low muscle mass, you've got lots of fat.
Yeah.
Again, it's about that you're doing a quick fix, but you're not necessarily helping yourself in the long run.
Exactly.
I think I remember someone saying once, I was listening to someone, and they said that in those instances that it is very important that you increase your protein intake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not just increasing the protein.
Yes,
you need to work out to use that protein.
Yes.
So with any fat loss, with any weight loss, you will lose muscle mass. But with medication, because it's kind of fast, quick fat loss or weight loss, you're going to lose more muscle mass. And exercise is a must anyway. So you have to follow a lifestyle. Again, you're working on behavioral changes with, especially obese people with obesity, who's been suffering with obesity for so long, and they want really a solution, right? Which is the 50%. When you start telling them how important exercise is, to them it's reprogramming. So you always start slow. No need to go to the gym like 3 hours per day. Make it 3 hours per week. Low to moderate intensity exercises, things that give you the motivation to see some change, that I can see my muscles now, this is nice. So it will push you to do more, right? And maintaining the muscle mass is really important, because we are seeing people who are slim fat now.
The skinny fat.
Skinny fat, exactly.
Sachin's asked a question. I'm going to try and get all your questions because, as always, the time is flying by. These conversations are so interesting. What is acceptable blood sugar levels? Some experts say that even levels till 150 are okay, and some say levels less than 120. Is this okay after having food? This is after food.
It depends. Again,
it
really depends on your lifestyle, on your personal history. If I'm pre-diabetic, I would not accept levels above 140.
Okay.
If I'm healthy person that exercise, my HbA1c never reached above 4.8, for example, the average blood glucose for the past 3 months. I would say 180 is fine.
Okay.
But it really depends, right?
Again, I guess that comes back to knowing your numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Georgina has asked, which blood test is used to measure insulin levels?
Insulin fasting.
Insulin fasting.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go.
That's the one where you drink that horrible drink?
No, that's the...
Oh, I'm thinking of pregnancy. That was horrible.
That's the glucose tolerance test.
The glucose tolerance test.
So
Yes,
that's another, that's another indicator to diagnose, to some extent, diabetes.
Okay.
So first
but that's throughout, not just gestational.
No,
so
not gestational.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you do is you start with HbA1c, the main indicator, the average blood glucose for the past 3 to 4 months. So anything above 5.6 is considered pre-diabetic, and then above 7 is diabetes, right?
Yeah.
So if you see that high, we would do the insulin fasting and the glucose fasting. If we saw there's some kind of discrepancy there, we would do the postprandial, which is after food insulin, and the GGT levels. This would give us why is your blood sugar high.
I'm loving going. I can't wait to listen back to this conversation as well, because I'm going to be watching like The Pit or Grey's Anatomy, and I'm going to know what they're going to be talking about as well. You talked about supplements, and we know we've had we had a great guest on recently as well, where she was talking about creatine, and Arlene's asked about creatine. He said, "Hi, what about creatine supplement for someone who is pre-diabetic blood pressure? Is this okay?"
Again, it depends. I don't recommend it, to be honest. Okay. Because diabetes and blood pressure would cause huge
cardiac
and kidney issues, right? They have, they cause a huge effort on the kidney to work, right? Okay. Yeah. So adding creatine would definitely cause a slightly more risk of damage. Okay. But the idea is, are you balancing? Are you managing those well? Yeah. Or are you just using creatine for cognitive health, let's say? But
that
again,
was my question.
Your body does not think like you do, right? Your body is programmed. Where do I need this? I need it for muscle health. I'm not going to use it for mental health. Like hair loss, for example, for females. Why my iron levels are fine. I've taken iron supplements. I've taken zinc. I've taken this and that. But still, my hair is falling. Your hair is accessory to your body. Your body doesn't care about hair.
So it's not a priority.
So it prioritizes whatever I need iron actually for to use. But it's not going to go straight to your hair. Same goes for creatine. If your body doesn't see a need for it, it's going to overload the kidney with it. I know it's a bit controversial, but we tend to listen to whatever we see online. Take creatine, it's good for you. Yeah, but it doesn't work for me. So for someone who has high blood pressure, someone who is working around diabetes, definitely if you have the right lifestyle, you exercise, your diet is fine, your hydration is good, as long as you use electrolytes to hydrate properly. Then fine. Use the low dose. Always start low. Never go high.
That was my question. So creatine, and I wanted to ask for an everyday use. Low dose, would that be? Is it 3 milligrams or 5 milligrams? 3 milligrams. Okay.
3, and not every day.
Not
I wouldn't
every
recommend
day.
daily.
Because I've been asking so many different people, with what they would recommend. Some were saying only take it on the days that you train. Don't take it on the weekends if you don't train on the weekends. And then some are like, no, you can take it every day if it's a low dose. So it's been extremely...
a supplement, right?
Yeah.
It's not
Can
a
I ask
medication.
a cheeky question?
Go on.
You know all those people you asked? Were any of them a GP that had access to your numbers?
No.
Sorry, that's someone being thrown under the bus live on TV.
But we did have someone who advocated, who was a family practitioner.
Yeah. But I think and that's true.
But without knowing
one of
numbers,
those, one of those things, and I think it comes back to Dr. Johannes and even that guest as well. She was saying, go and see but it was like go and see a professional. And I think one thing that again I think that particularly as we've got 50% of the people on this call who are in that I want to be preventative, isn't it like know your numbers and actually create a health pathway or a plan with your GP practitioner, clinician, and so you maximize the potential of all of that.
Then it goes back to behavior. Because I feel that now everything is so accessible that they're like, okay, so this is trending, and I heard somebody who is remotely medically affiliated, I'm just going to go order it, and then I'm going to start taking it, and then they they don't, which is the precursor of every roadmap, is knowing where your starting point is.
Baseline. Build yourself a baseline. Understand what your numbers are. Whether it was blood test, whether it was body composition, endurance training. I can lift 5 kgs today. I want to lift more. These are all baselines that you can use, right? That's really important. Discussing with a health professional, that's also important. You can ask AI, sure. But does AI really know what's happening in your body? Does AI understand that what stress is, how it's affecting you? Will it ask the right questions and, look at them for you?
Because
personalized thing.
Richard was telling you as well, as earlier, he's using AI. And if anyone does use like AI or ChatGPT, its default setting is just to give you an answer.
Exactly.
And it wants to give you the answer. Particularly, sometimes we don't even know that critical thinking anymore about how do I ask a question without wanting an answer, as in I've already got an answer in my head and I'm seeking you it's like confirmation bias in a way. So it can be a tool, but again, is it that literacy where we need to know how to ask the right questions about our health?
Definitely. Yes, definitely. The thing is, we've been always used to going to the doctor, spending like 15 minutes with the doctor. First question, why are you here? Why did you come to my clinic? Okay, I feel a bit tired. What do you mean tired? How do you feel tired? There's also, you've noticed this. We've been talking about NHS for
also in the UK.
So
no UK listeners here, right?
There's
we actually do have people listening in and tuning into the podcast at least. So hi.
The lack of communication is also there. Let's say back in the 90s, right? Whenever you go to the doctor, you would definitely spend more than 30 minutes there. Now it's max of 10 minutes. There's a huge lack of communication between the patient and the doctor. And when that happens, you would not feel satisfied with your visit, and the doctor would not give you the information or get the information that they need. So asking the right questions. Okay, so you're tired. You came to me tired, right? How did you feel that? When did that start? When you ask, when you do the blood tests, what does this mean? Type, okay, I have seen these kinds of changes. For example, my LDL levels last time I tested were much higher. Now it's lower, but my triglycerides have increased. What could that be? Don't just go for, it's fine, it happens, you change your life. No, what happened that caused this? So I can do more of it, or I can change it in a way that focus is on LDL, not on just triglycerides. Why are you writing me statins? I'm only 32 years old. See, these things, I'm 42 by the way. So these things, you have to ask. Whatever a doctor says, it's not always 100% true, right? Taking a second and third opinion is fine. And you have to be comfortable with whatever you're going to be doing or going to be taking to feel the right way for it to actually work, right?
I feel like this is a good opportunity as well to plug that health literacy podcast. So if you do go on the Connect for Health, search Connect for Health on YouTube or on the podcast channels, that was a really good episode because he had some really good advice about what you do before you go to your doctor to prepare. So you get the most amount of information and advice and the right advice, and you don't leave going, I didn't say that, or I wish I'd asked that, or I didn't ask that. So check that episode out. I think I'm going to bring in the second poll because I can see we're approaching only 10 minutes left, and this is I know, absolutely flying by. So audience members, what would help you most after today's session? And we've got a few options. Always, we haven't got the F, which is all of the above, but a simple checklist for what to test and when, how to interpret key markers in plain language, practical diet and routine changes that actually stick, interesting, guidance on reducing sugar cravings and energy crashes, or how to manage risk if heart disease or diabetes runs in the family. And I'll ask that question because I think that is a really good question. If it does run in the family, how important is it for us? What's the likelihood that, you may also because I haven't got diabetes, but my younger brother has type A.
Yeah.
So it's not lifestyle. He had that from a very young age. But,
again, genetics, it's there,
Yeah.
right? But it doesn't have to mean that you will get it sometime. Because if you're doing the right thing, and then it's not gonna happen, or at least you're gonna delay it till like very, very late age.
Yeah.
With age comes these kinds of issues. Definitely,
Yeah.
right? Metabolic issues, metabolic diseases.
Yeah.
But with having a family history, because we do have that a lot, and we do have a lot of clients who, okay, your cholesterol is high. Yeah, it's okay. I have a family history of it. Okay, what are you doing to prevent it from progressing more?
Yeah.
And sometimes I like to tell people that, okay, if you stop it at your level, then it might not, your kids might not have to get it. You play on emotions.
Yeah.
Push
Interesting.
people to do it. And it actually works. It actually motivates people to do that. Oh, so you mean if I reverse it now, my kids won't have it? He already has kids, but it's the genetic is already gone, right? But if you showed your kids how to live a healthier lifestyle, you're definitely gonna help improve that.
Yeah.
And again, genetics, you adapt, your body adapts.
Yes,
so next generations, maybe it's better.
That is true.
Lifestyle definitely is a huge area there when it comes to prevention.
And it's ironic because it's the one thing you do have control over, especially when it's something that, like you said, genetics. And yet I feel that's not something that people feel that they have a lot of power in. It's almost like a lot of the times they already see the challenge, and the resistance is almost, there even before the first step has been taken.
Because you see now with social media, it's all about the motivational speakers. And you can do it. You have to do it. You have the will to do it. It's not always about willpower. Again, sometimes your body is fighting you. So just change the strategy. Diet, I love sweet food, sugary foods. Fine. Let's start by reducing that a bit and adding more of something else that you may like. Bit by bit, you'll start building that habit. Same goes for exercise, as we said. Start slow. You don't have to go all the way. I hated the gym. I never loved the gym. The only exercise I used to do was climbing. And that was for me, that was the only exercise I loved. And I was very consistent with it. I did that 5 days a week for 5 years.
Wow.
And to me, that was consistent. That was sustainable. That was something at least I'm doing. Right? I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And if I can do it now, I would definitely go do it again. But going to the gym, to me, it's like going back to school again.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say, I love how engaged you are as our audience, and also how educated you are, because there was an option that I didn't mention out of all of those, but it's fascinating because it's the most it's highly appropriate and relevant here, which was, and it's the most popular answer is how to use preventative benefits in my health plan appropriately. And I think that's one of those things that we don't do, isn't it? Because there is a lot in there that we can access. And I guess you'd say if you're a Cigna Healthcare member, please also reach out to Cigna Healthcare for details of your membership. Again, also
policy.
check out that Dr. Johannes episode, because he again was telling you about how you can get the most out of it. But that is the thing, isn't it? Because sometimes we have all these benefits that we don't know what we've got that we can access, that's part of the plan that we're already paying for.
Exactly. The yearly checkups is one of those
the
things.
Yearly checkups,
right? So the yearly checkups usually covers the basic metabolic functions, which is again, blood sugar profile, cholesterol profile, sometimes hormones that are affected or affect, like thyroid functions, for example, which has a huge effect. Liver functions, kidney, these are the basics, right? If you do that once yearly, you would have at least a baseline. If, God forbid, something was wrong with these readings, then at least you would know where to start, how to start.
You've reminded me of a question that Anuj asked. Thank you, Anuj, again. He asked if there was a link between metabolism, thyroid function, and conditions like diabetes and heart disease, and how can people take a more integrated approach to managing all three?
Of course. Thyroid, again, as any hormone, right? They manage metabolism. So any imbalance there can cause a huge imbalance in metabolism, which can lead to prediabetes, which can lead to high cholesterol. Most of the people who come to us with the thyroid hypothyroidism, thyroid imbalance, they come complaining of, I'm not losing weight, or I'm gaining so much weight for the past couple of months. Hypothyroidism, underactive thyroid. So the effect of adding more weight would definitely increase cholesterol, would definitely cause more insulin resistance, which will lead to higher blood sugar. It's like a package, right? And diabetes or high blood sugar is significantly connected to cardiovascular disease, as high blood sugar can cause, of course, plaque formation. It also causes stiffness, atherosclerosis, stiffness of the arteries, right? And of course, when you have high blood sugar, you will have high triglycerides, which will lead to more visceral fat, which will lead to more issues. But everything is connected when it comes to the metabolic function. Improving one will definitely help improve the others, but you just don't focus on that one. Okay, I'm treating thyroid disease, but am I working on my diet and movement to help release that? Yeah, but exactly.
I have another question, Alice, and I think some of this has already been asked you, but if you're diagnosed as pre-diabetic, can you first try to control your blood sugar levels rather than taking medication immediately?
That's the ABCs.
And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we learned in med school, right? The first thing is lifestyle changes, modifiable factors for at least 3 months. If you saw some kind of response, extend to 6 months. If that didn't work at all, then you would start the medication option. Unfortunately, that changed. The guidelines are now different, but this is what actually really works. Why do you want to keep someone on medication for life?
I was just about to say the revelation that this is something that is also going to be long term.
Exactly.
So they have the choice to try the lifestyle changes first, before committing to the long term medication, because it's not something that you would take for a few months and then it addresses the
I want to
issue.
squeeze one more question in. Sorry, just because I can see the clock ticking down. Richard asked a question, and I think it's just, again, another really appropriate question for particularly as when you're an expat as well. And he said, having a GP has become hard. How do we do it with a fragmented care? Or should the initial priority to get a good GP and have that partner on the journey? Because I think that's an interesting thing, because we rock up to the doctors and but actually that the whole concept of the family GP that we would have back in the UK that knows you, that knew your grandparents, that knows your family history, that doesn't exist anymore, really, does it? So is that possible these days, to find that partner on the journey?
To be honest, it's not easy.
No.
It's
Sorry, Richard.
not easy.
Try.
But you can definitely. It takes time to find that person, of course. But you as a patient can build that relation with the doctor. And of course, you can make them care more if you showed your actual interest and you showed that you listen to their instructions, you listen to their recommendations and suggestions. I really, one of my closest patients, clients are the ones who really listen. Right? When I tell them, okay, I'm very proud of your progress. And you can see that they are also happy about it. I'm very proud of your progress, but we need to change this. We need to add that. And next follow-up, you'd see these changes are happening. Because they gave you that, okay, I will take your word for it. But when you talk to your kids, when you talk to your friends, then quit smoking, man. It's bad for you. And they don't listen. At a certain point, you're not going to care. Same goes for doctors, right? So you build.
So if you go to the doctor, listen to the advice and actually try and do it. Oh, God, I could carry on this conversation for ages. And I feel very quickly before we end the thing. If the audience has got questions or want to inquire more, how can they find you? Dr. Mahmoud.
Of course, Valeo platform. We have the app, we have the website. They can anytime book any consultation with me or any of our team, and we will be more than happy to help out in that. We have our own protocols, we have our own guidelines, all from experience, and our doctors, thankfully, are part of my team. And we like to build that kind of relationship with patients, because that's where you see results.
So my takeaways from this conversation, and I wonder what your takeaways are, but listen to your doctor. But I think it is health literacy, and just find out what your numbers are.
Definitely health literacy.
The numbers have been great on this episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's brilliant to be back in the studio as well. I've loved the conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you for being such an engaged audience as always. When the podcast ends, when the webinar ends, you'll be asked for feedback. Please give it to us, because feedback is a gift and it just helps us improve. And in the meantime, thank you very much, Dr. Mahmoud, Maissa, for joining us.
thank you.
It was really a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you
Always
so much.
fabulous to see you, Maissa.
Oh,
and thank you very
so
much. And we'll see you next time on Connect for Health.